Let me say it straight. If your calendar is still running you, you're not the CEO. Your business is. You built a business for freedom. But if you're still the one juggling scheduling, moving meetings around like puzzle pieces, or checking 3 platforms to confirm your next call, you're not free. You're busy. You're overloaded. And you might be secretly terrified to let someone else touch your time. But what if I told you that delegating your calendar isn't about losing control? It's about stepping into your most powerful CEO role yet. Hey friends, welcome back to the CEO Shift Show. I'm Carol Serby, business coach, system strategist, and your guide for building a business that works for you, not the other way around. In this episode, we're going to go deep on some deceptively simple topics. Delegating your calendar without losing control. Here's what you're going to walk away with today. A mindset shift that finally helped me let go of control. A practical 3-zone calendar model that works even in small teams. How to build delegation systems that protect your time and your leadership. And a real-time CEO challenge that will create space in your week immediately. Let's dive into these shifts. Let's start with the illusion of control, because it's where almost every overwhelmed CEO is secretly stuck. You say your time is valuable, but your calendar, well, it actually tells another story. It's jammed with other people's priority. It's filled with urgent, not important tasks. And deep down, you could be afraid that if you let someone else take over, everything will just fall apart. So here's what I want you to hear today. Control is not clarity. Control is a trauma response wrapped in productivity. I know that sounds really intense, but I've seen it in nearly every client I coach, and personally I've lived it. One of my clients, Amanda, was holding every appointment in her head. She had a VA, but refused to hand over her calendar. Why? Well, she just didn't want to wake up not knowing what's coming. And I'm wondering if that sounds familiar for you. So what we did is we actually flipped the script. She delegated with boundaries and kept a 15-minute weekly preview. And not only did her time open up, so did her brain. I want you to ask yourself, what am I really afraid will happen if I'm not the one managing my time? Let's now move from mindset to mechanics. When I teach the calendar systems inside the Scalable CEO Academy, we don't start with tech. We start with visibility. Because most CEOs are just reacting to their calendar. You're in it, but you're not designing it. Here's the model we use. We have what we call the red zone, which is strictly CEO time. This is where your most strategic work lives. Think vision, think planning, think critical thinking. No one books this but you. And then we have the yellow zone, which is collaborative time. This includes meeting or projects your team can book with guidelines. You stay informed, but you're not gatekeeping. And then we have what we call the green zone, which is delegated time. This is fully managed by someone else, and it includes admin work, recurring operations, team syncs. You review it, but you don't manage it. So here's a power tip for you. Set this up in your calendar using color codes or emojis. Visually train yourself to see the zones and honor them. Inside the academy, Jen color-coded her calendar this way and reduced her weekly calls from 14 to 6. Her words, "I finally feel like I'm leading, not just showing up to react." So here's a mini action step for you. Color code next week's calendar. Tally how much time you spend in red, yellow, and green. And ask yourself, what needs to shift? This is where most delegation breaks down. Not because of trust, but because of uncertainty. Your assistant doesn't know if they can book a 30-minute intro call. Your ops person doesn't know if Fridays are fair game. Your team doesn't know when to book or bounce. So here's the fix. Let's break down something I call the CEO decision matrix. Because here's the deal. Delegation doesn't fail because your team can't handle it. It fails because they don't understand how you make decisions. And the decision matrix solves that. So it's not a spreadsheet. It's not a bunch of complicated rules. It's just a short, crystal clear guide, simple, repeatable, and non-negotiable, and answers this question. How should your time be used? And how do others make decisions on your behalf without constantly needing your approval? So here's what to include. Your booking hours. These are the exact times when you're available to be booked. For example, I only take meetings between 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. Tuesday through Thursday. Why does that matter? Because it creates guardrails, it protects deep work, and it gives your team confidence about when it's okay to schedule. What about buffer time between meetings? How much breathing room do you need between appointments? And here's an example. I need 15 minutes buffer between all meetings and 30 minutes between client-facing calls. And this matters because without it, your calendar becomes a mental treadmill. Buffers equal better performance, better energy, fewer no-shows, and fewer flustered starts. Here's some guidelines around when to ask versus when to book. This one is key, giving your team a simple rule when they should check in with you and when can they go ahead. So here's the example. If it's a new client consult, book it automatically using the script that I approved. If it's an invite to speak, check with me before committing. And if it's someone trying to book in within 24 hours, flag it first. So this matters because it removes the decision fatigue from your inbox and teaches your team how to think like you without needing the constant input. The next thing is having your team understand what gets prioritized. Spell out what should get booked first. So weekly team meetings, strategic plannings, and sales call gets priority over internal reviews or casual networking. And this matters because it ensures your calendar reflects your strategic goals, not just whatever requests land first. And then the last thing to consider is what actually gets dropped. This is your no list. What can your team decline or delay on your behalf? So an example might be to decline all unpaid podcast invites unless I've already approved the show. Push any non-urgent vendor meetings to next quarter, or decline standing invites to reoccurring Zooms unless it's directly client-facing. This matters because it protects your calendar from clutter, the kind that chips away at your energy and makes you feel like you're drowning in obligations. So here's your move. Write a one-pager called How to Protect My Time and share it with your assistant or your team. You'll be shocked at how much smoother everything runs. Fewer interruptions, less stress, and way more energy to show up like the true CEO you are. Because when your time is protected, your leadership is too. Let's have a real talk moment. Let me bring you into a moment that changed my leadership identity forever. It was Tuesday. I had 5 back-to-back meetings. I missed my son's field trip, and I cried alone in my office because the business that I built, it was owning me. That day, I deleted 14 meetings. I paused 3 projects, and I made a decision. If my calendar doesn't match my values, my business won't either. So I rebuilt how I handled time, not just to feel better, but to be able to lead better. And now, I protect my time like my business depends on it, because it does. If this episode is hitting you hard, let me say this. You're not behind, you're just ready. You've outgrown hustle, and you're not lazy. You're ready to lead. So, let's land this conversation. This week's challenge is to do a color audit, red, yellow, green. Then choose one block of time to delegate. It could be your weekly ops meeting. It could be lead generation follow-up. It could be inbox triage. Start small, but just start. And if you need a template, download this month's free resource, the CEO's Time Leverage Blueprint, at thescalableceo.academy.com. Inside, you're going to find a full red, yellow, green model, calendar delegation scripts, and time boundary templates for your own team. And if you're ready for real implementation, support, and systems, join me inside the Scalable CEO Academy, where we just don't talk about freedom, we actually install it. Next week on the podcast, we're breaking down Simplify to Scale. How subtractions, not additions, is your next big growth move. Until then, protect your time, respect your time, and always lead like the CEO your business is becoming.